ain't gonna impeach nobody, you fucking nigger. Try it, and we'll lynch all you fucking niggers. You'll be hanging from a tree. I didn't see anybody calling for the impeachment of your nigger Obama when he was born in Kenya. He's not even an American. So fuck you, nigger.
We honestly believe that this is what Congressman Al Green was and is still trying to do by calling for the impeachment of Donald Trump for obstruction of justice. But unfortunately, we live in a country where when a black man speaks up for the poor and needy, he is judged differently from others. I mean, let's just be honest. If Congressman Al Green were a white congressman, and if the caller had a Middle Eastern accent, the person who perpetrated that call would have been caught by now. If Congressman Al Green were a Jewish congressperson, and someone with a German accent called and threatened to do to a Jewish congressperson what was done to his ancestors during the Holocaust, that person would have been caught by now. Why is it that we're 10 days away from Congressman Al Green making this known, and we as a public and the community have heard nothing about what is being done to go and find who made these death threats? Just yesterday, NBA superstar LeBron James, on the eve of him about to play the biggest game in basketball, someone went to his home and painted the word nigger, and I'm using that terminology because what I don't want to do is I don't want to sanitize what these people are doing. But they painted that word on his fence at his home. LeBron beautifully addressed it and addressed racism in America in general on yesterday during a press conference. But unfortunately, this is what his children has to live through in 2017. On May 20th, a young brother by the name of Richard Collins, a second lieutenant, educated brother about to graduate from Bowie State University, was stabbed several times to his death by a self-professed white supremacist who was also a student as well. And just last week, on a train in Portland, Oregon, another self-professed white supremacist approached two Muslim girls and began to act aggressively towards them. And when three men stood up to defend them, two of them were killed. A double murder in 2017 based upon the same ideals that were professed 40, 50, 60 years ago. The clock is ticking backwards in America, not forwards. But we have a message today for the white supremacists. You may have a desire to go back to 1820, but we ain't going with you. Black people are the target. The American press is the target. Our Latino brothers and sisters are the target. And whereas there was a time when a lot of these people, they had negative, nasty, and aggressive thoughts in their minds, they've gotten to the point to where now they feel like they can actually attack folks. So it all starts with the leadership. Of course, Donald Trump is the one that has set the tone. Even when you look at the shooting that took place in Portland, he condemned a double murder in a tweet. 140 characters, that's all he gave that particular tragedy. So Donald Trump is most definitely the one that's setting the tone, and unfortunately these radical Caucasian terrorists are taking the bait. But they got to understand that they got another thing coming if they're talking about coming into our community and killing our brothers and killing our sisters. See, what has to happen is these brothers out here who are killing one another, Crips versus Blood, the west side of Chicago versus another side of Chicago, the southeast side of Houston, Texas versus the southwest side of Houston, Texas. What these radical Caucasian terrorists are going to do is help us to educate these young brothers on who the real enemy is. And the same aggressive behavior that black youth are unfortunately expressing towards one another is going to be turned on the real enemy if this keeps up. So Donald Trump is most definitely the culprit. I also want to say that we've got to get to the point where we stop calling these people racist. That makes them smile. When we call them white supremacists, they love that. I say, like my dear brother Philip Scott says, we have to call these people who it is that they really are. They are radical, Caucasian terrorists. And until this country deals with the radical Caucasian terrorists with the same kind of energy that they're trying to use to go after ISIS, we will always have this problem.
Stand with my brothers and sisters today. I wear many hats, but what I want to say today is this: when you're silent in your pain, they will kill you and say you enjoyed it. When you're silent in your pain, they will kill you and say you enjoyed it. Whether you agree with the decision for impeachment or not, there is the responsibility, the challenge in our Constitution that calls for you to cry out, to calls for you to question. That's right, sister. And that is what Congressman Green did as an elected official. Right. It's also what we should do each and every day to our local government, to our state government, to our federal authorities. Our role as citizens is to question, not always to agree.
That's right. Right.
So when we get threats, as the regional director for the NAACP, I've gotten many of them. As a local organizer, I've gotten many of them. And now as a congressman, he faces the same thing.
The Honorable Louis Farrakhan has pointed out that the election of Donald Trump has emboldened white people to do and to say what they used to think and only keep to themselves because of political correctness. So today they don't feel inhibited, they don't feel restrained, they feel that they can do whatever they want to do to us and say about us whatever they want. What does he mean you're going to have a problem on your hands? He's better at sound bites than I am, so I'm going to give you some depth that you're going to cut out of this, but I'm going to put it on the record. You tell us and our children, get an education so you can get a job. We go to college, we get $60,000 in debt, we come out, we don't have a job. You tell us small business is the engine by which it drives America. Go and start a business. Go over to the bank and get your loan and pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, you lazy black people. We go to the bank. They won't give us a loan because you got all the boots that have all the straps. Then you tell us, well, you people need to register and go vote. And we go, we register, and we vote, and we put Al Green in office. He stands up. He says what we elected him to do in the well of the House of Representatives. And this is your response. What have you left us? The educational system, you're closing our schools. You don't have any job for us. You won't give us the resources to start our own businesses. And now the very people that we elect, you're trying to stop us from electing our own through voter suppression. And now the man that we elected, a man I've known for 30 years, has been my personal friend, who does not agree with everything that I believe, but yet still remains my friend, that is my congressman and my brother. You threaten his life? Well, The Quran says it like this: retaliation is prescribed in the case of the slain. We are not being aggressive, we're being defensive. And we're saying to law enforcement and the powers to be, black people can't take it anymore. And you say, those radical Caucasian terrorists, that you're trying to start a race war like Dylann Roof did. No, you're not trying to start a race war. We've been in a race war for the last 500 years. What we're trying to do is end it. So I say on this day, it's fortuitous and it's divine that my brother called us together on this day for this press conference. The first thing is to help everyone in the community understand in our community that black lives do matter and that we have to love, honor, and respect one another. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that our unity is more powerful than a nuclear bomb. So it's through our unity, and the only way we're going to have the bond of unity is to have this, go through the steps of atonement and to have forgiveness among one another, love and unify among one another, pool our resources, and be able to and willing to defend ourselves, our lives, our property, and our community.
Please remember, now is not the time to be silent.
That's right, that's right, that's right.
The call to this community now is not to remain silent in the face of those who hurt you. We've got to be bigger than that. We've got to be bolder than that. We've got to stand up for Congressman Al Green and others who are not as situated in the same light as you. There are millions of people with faces and names that you don't know who need us also to stand up and stand out.
I'd rather see from the community that we rise up, that we secure our own, that we rise up and that we patrol our own communities and only call law enforcement when necessary.
We stand behind Congressman Al Green, who was representing his district when he called for the impeachment of Donald Trump. He had the audacity to say what many other people were thinking. He just had the strength and the conviction to do it. And how dare some racist people call for his death because he was doing his job. I didn't hear any of those people defending people when they were castrating President Barack Obama. They stood and cheered. And how dare they now have the gauze to not and fully investigate. I'm here today as a state representative to stand behind the brothers that are here. As an elected official, we have to have the political courage to speak truth to power. We have to have the political courage to stand with those who are on the front line. Because, Brother Derek, as you know, when you're on the front line, you have a bull's eye on your back. Absolutely. And I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to say that we stand in solidarity behind Congressman Green. We want you to continue to, on the halls of Congress, to speak truth to power. We know that also Frederick Douglass said that power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has and it never will. And Congressman Green has demanded for the Congress to bring forth the impeachment of a president that has oppressed many African Americans, many minorities, many women. He wants to take this country back, I believe, to days of Jim Crow. He wants to take this country back to a time where African Americans didn't have many of the liberties that we have today. And so I, too, am of the opinion that Donald Trump should be impeached.
I have stood in turmoil because it's like deja vu. I have been there before. I have lived through this nightmare of attack on another black man simply because he spoke truth to power.
That's right. That's right.
And we must understand that this is not the first time that America has responded to truth to power being articulated so boldly, clearly, and openly.
That's right.
I watched a press conference where there was a gentleman who said he had gotten 1 million signatures calling for the impeachment of Donald Trump. But nobody threatened their lives. I watched in amazement how he boldly proclaimed his love and his support for what the congressman was doing, but nobody had threatened to lynch him.
I think it's an alarm clock that has been forced to be awakened. I am not here to hate anyone, so let me tell you what I think. I think Donald Trump, the president, has been used as a tool to show us what we really are up against, which is something far greater than one man. It is the temperament of our United States. And it also shows as a reflection on not only what we are in America, but what we interface with globally. And that is the ultimate concern for me.
And so the term radical Caucasian terrorist, or radical white terrorist, or radical European terrorist, whatever you want to call them, this is an act of terrorism.
So a threat on one of us is a threat on all of us. That's the way that we're taking this. So we want to say to the black community and to black men in general, unite, settle your differences, and be prepared to defend your community against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Oh, this has fueled me because we work globally every day with our mission, Hope Over Hurt. And so what it's done is, because the alarm has been ringing, we were forced to awaken. Yawn, stretch our arms, and get up and get busy. So it set the fire.
So we want to say to Congressman Al Green, brother, you are not alone. You have a community that has your back. The people you see standing here today are just a fraction of those who have his back.